So, all right.
We are good. We are live.
Cool. Let me pull it up. So we got like one more people watching, one person watching it. So, uh, do not disturb because that.
Oh yeah,
All right,
I need to
cool,
do that too. Okay, we're good.
awesome. All right, record. All right. Hey everybody, this is Jordan, Crohn's Veteran Podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm with my two awesome co-hosts, CJ Cabrera and Renika Wood. How you guys doing today?
Great.
We are very grateful and honored to have a very special guest, Alyssa. How you doing this morning, ma'am?
Hi, I'm well. How are you guys?
Great.
Good, good.
Good.
Doing really, really well. And so, thank you for being here. And just to get things, started off, Alyssa, tell us a little bit about yourself and in your, maybe your journey with IBD a little bit.
Okay. I'm 28 years old. I got diagnosed when I was 14. Before that, though, I suffered, I want to say, since I was like 11 or 12, but they just really couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I just didn't really have an appetite, no real energy. I went to sleep a lot, and my stomach was always hurting. And I think I lost like 50 or 60 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Before they noticed. And they decided to send me to a specialist to have a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. And by the time they found it, the Crohn's was everywhere, like in both my intestines, like towards my rectum. It was really, really bad. And they started me on a few medications because at the time, it was about 2007. So it was pretty extreme, and they didn't know how they were going to deal with it and how my body was going to react. So I started immediately with the prednisone, and they moved me on to taking methotrexate. I had to inject that for a long time and do enemas, and that didn't work. And then I discovered Remicade, which worked really well for a really long time. And I started to get back kind of a normalcy of life, and I started doing things and having more energy. And I was on that for almost 10 years. And then it just stopped working. And sorry.
Yeah, not good. Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, yeah, it just stopped working. And we tried to change my diet up a bit because they didn't know about another drug to put me on. The pain medications, by this point, I'm taking like hydromorphone for pain. It's nothing's helping me. And I think I was on holiday with my friends. They got married in Greece, and I got a what's a fissure? I didn't know what that was. It was awful. And to be like in another country, and we went to Santorini, and they said like the only other doctor, you have to like get the boat to Athens. So I'm like, this is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. But when I came back, my doctors still didn't know how to help. I got the fissure. I started to lose more weight. I was just in excruciating pain for maybe about 3 or 4 months. Then I went into the hospital. They put me on Stilera, but it wasn't working either. It just wasn't. I was probably 90 pounds, between like 190 pounds by now, and only gaining like half a pound every 2 weeks. So it was just rough. We didn't know what to do until I got a fistula in my colon perforated, like the bowel part of my colon perforated. And then that was it. I had to have surgery. And yeah. That's it.
Well, what? That's
So
quite a stat.
after that surgery, how have you been feeling?
I feel amazing. I can't even describe how good I feel. I can finally go running. Before this, I didn't really run. I wasn't a runner. I didn't have enough energy. That's why, like, CJ, I look at your post, I'm like, wow, you can run. I was crying. I didn't even participate in gym in school. It was just too much for my body. Yeah, so now that's like a personal goal of mine to just run. I like doing that. Yeah.
It's cool. I like fitness too. I like running. Actually, I
Yeah.
was never much of a runner,
Mhm.
but ever since I got diagnosed and, running being something that's light enough to not kill my UC, I find
Yeah.
it better than lifting weights, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's good. It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel
Yeah.
really good.
And plus, you can do it
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I still struggle with a little of my Crohn's, that kind of that fatigue kind of problem, and that, it's a tired problem. So it's mine's still a little bit aspirational over here.
Yeah.
Trying to get back in the saddle. So, so props to you guys for, for running. I mean, yeah, CJ,
Definitely.
and that inspires me too.
Yeah.
I've tried to run. I told CJ, like, I don't know how to run. I think it's my mind. I'll be running for like 30 seconds. I was like, just stop. You just walk. You better just walk. Like, yeah, I'm gonna walk right now. I don't try to run. I was like, girl, get out your head. But I wanted to commend you because you've been through a lot in such a young, from age 14 to 28 and 14 years span, and you've been in another country and being diagnosed with a fissure. And because I had a fissure before, and the fissure is not a pleasant or a good thing to talk about.
No.
That can be very crippling. Oh my God, you like, just leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't even look at my way. Just go over there. Right? So props to you. I know over here where I'm at, when I had mine, they gave me medication. It was called nitroglycerin cream. And basically, person who have heart attacks, they use the capsule to put under their tongue to dissolve. But over here, they develop a compound that is a nitroglycerin-based compound that you put in the area where the fissure is, and it basically revive those vessels in the anal area to close it up. So that's what I had to get. It was a specialized compound that my pharmacy had to mix up together. But that's not a good feeling at all. So I'm sorry you went through that.
Not at all. I think they gave me an ointment too. I'm not sure of the name, but the only thing that relieved it was I had to take sitz baths.
Yes.
Just like, yeah, I did a lot of that, and I had a donut. I had to take that to school, just sit on a donut.
Yes.
So awkward and uncomfortable.
Question provoking. Like, why you sitting on a donut? But
Yeah, they were looking at me.
Right.
I like cushion.
Yeah, I'm over here minding my business.
Yeah, like
Right.
you guys, have you guys ever had one before, a fissure before?
No.
No, like I believe I've had, like fistulas and those kind of things, but the actual fissure, I mean, I've had a lot of uncomfortable things, happen myself, but but not that particularly, I don't think.
If I can describe it in one word, how would you describe yours, Alyssa? I would describe mine as someone, y'all, excuse my language, someone taking a razor blade, making you swallow it, and you have to go and boo-boo it out.
That's it.
Oh no,
Does it?
I don't
does it
know.
feel like from like?
I don't know,
you
because
all through your
that sounds
intestines?
familiar.
When you have a boo-boo,
Yeah.
a boo-boo,
Oh,
it's
man.
like,
Yes.
oh my
I
God.
low key, you know what? I mean, I don't feel
Maybe-
like I've
maybe.
had a fistula, but I've definitely felt that pain
Yeah,
before.
yeah, I felt that pain before, and so if that's the case, damn, like
I guess I have.
so yeah, like hats off to you, hats off to you.
So what it is like it's a hairline. So you have the fissure and fistula.
Mhm.
Like the fissure is like a hairline cut that's right parallel down your anal canal, your rectum area is right there. So it's an opening to where you have bowel movements. It basically opens itself up. You keep on, your bowels, your anal area, extracts whatever. Then the fistula is an opening between two different organs, or openings for your colon to your reproductive system, whatever. Yeah. So Lisa, hats off to you.
Thank
Trying to
you.
have fun and dealing with that at the same. No one probably understood what you had going on at that time.
It was hard. It was hard to explain and to get any kind of empathy because they're like, okay, it's like, you're fine. I'm like, you don't understand the feeling. It's
I'm not fine.
no.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's a lot. And so I mean, so beyond, yeah. So what's your so you said you're able to run now, which is awesome. Able to exercise, which is awesome. And so, how and like through all this time, what does your diet look like?
My diet, I would say I eat pretty well. I don't
Mhm.
know what that means.
Yeah,
But
well,
Diet
okay,
restrictions?
so
yeah, okay, or
Yeah.
maybe a better question. I mean, have you found yourself, foods that work for you, foods that don't, in your own life?
still working on foods that work for me
Mhm.
because it's weird. After surgery, I found that my body is probably now at its healthiest. So it's starting to do the things it maybe should have done, like when I was going through puberty and it didn't
Mm.
have the opportunity to.
Mhm.
I'm now allergic to almonds. I never used to be. Yeah.
Mm.
And I found that out by eating almonds. I was
Lord.
stuffing my face.
Mm.
And you've seen Hitch, right? Like when his
Yeah.
Yeah.
eye blew up and like his face, oh, my
Oh
throat
my
was closing. It
God.
was
Mm.
horrible.
That's not.
Lord.
I know, and like almonds are one of those things where, like, if you have IBD or Crohn's, like almost everything is almond flour, almond milk, almond butter.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So that just
mm,
that's now out of my diet. So I'm now trying to like now I don't want to try everything, right? Because
mm,
now I'm worried about what I can and cannot eat. But I
Yeah.
find that the things I have tried, I'm okay with. Leafy greens, like greens make me very gassy, like an ostomy
Mhm.
bag. I do not eat those before bed. Like there's no salad with dinner because
right, right.
I've had one too many explosions, so I know better.
I've
Yeah,
definitely
that's
had to cut out greens myself.
See?
I haven't been eating greens for like maybe like a year, 2 years,
Okay.
roughly. I'm the same way. They're way too rough for me, and they make me super gassy.
Mhm.
I
mm,
recently just yesterday I cut out wheat
Oh.
and gluten, so a new journey for that.
Wow.
right.
It
Yeah,
is
That's
easy to
really
be
good.
on it, boy. Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
I do wheat. I just don't do whole wheat or like whole grain or
Dude, the
any.
thing about that was I cut out whole wheat and whole grain the month
Mhm.
before, and I did not see any progress. So I was just
Oh,
like, fuck, excuse my language, I'm just gonna have to cut out wheat.
We all
yeah.
So, yeah,
Mm,
gotta do what you have to do to get better, honestly.
I hope it helps.
right. Yeah,
Thank
it
you,
does
thank
too,
you.
man.
Yeah.
That's I can definitely relate. To yeah, with me, I have something also called bile acid malabsorption, too,
Hmm.
which and so yeah, I'm still on that same journey. So you're not alone on that, Alyssa. Trying to find the right things to eat.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, because with me, it's just it feels like with IBD, it's like, man, what can I eat?
That's it.
What and so that's one of the things that we're gonna try to do. Renika and I and CJ and I, just try to put out more food stuff and more recipes and stuff, so people can actually,
Yeah.
especially like with me too, especially like sweet tooth stuff, like fun
Yeah.
things. So
I love sweet.
so right, yeah, so I mean, like, are there any yeah, anything? Yeah, is there any like IBD friendly desserts that you do like?
I love cheesecake. I don't
Mm,
know if that's IBD friendly, but I will eat that.
Yeah.
right.
Cheesecake
No,
is bomb though.
that would make me explode. Actually, I think it would make me explode.
Really?
Cheesecake would destroy
And like,
me. Yeah.
Cheesecake? No, cheesecake's like my weakness. And candy.
uh,
I can't do popcorn.
a lot
I'm
of
not saying I'm not saying that cheesecake isn't delicious.
Oh, cheesecake is bombers. Bomb as
I'm just saying
anything.
that I'm gonna say my stomach's like, why'd you do that, man? Type thing.
Fair,
So
fair,
Exactly.
later. I'm gonna get you.
fair,
right.
fair.
That's a
Mhm.
question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead,
No,
Lexi.
Yeah,
sorry, no.
popcorn. No
We're just
popcorn
about the
either.
cheesecake. Go ahead.
Okay. We know you're all about the body positivity movement and things of nature. You mentioned you lost a significant amount of weight through the course of your transition period of finding out you have Crohn's and things of nature? You have Crohn's or colitis? Which one is it?
So when I started, I had both. With the surgery, we are hoping that my colitis is gone.
Okay.
Now I'll just still have Crohn's.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with the questions about your weight loss? Because sometimes a lot of persons with IBD tend to have a lot of insecurities. I'm on the other end of the spectrum where my weight, I'm a plus size female. I call it a size 6, knows what I call it, but I'm plus size. So my surgery have allowed me to eat more food. When I had my surgery, I was eating less and I lost weight. Now that I have my surgery, I have a hard time losing weight, because my doctor said my body is basically holding on to the nutrients I was not getting before I had my surgery. So how did you deal with the transition from the weight loss and people asking questions about that?
Initially it was hard. I would say going through high school and experiencing the weight loss was really, really hard, because it was hard for people that were not my close friends, because I didn't talk about it, right? I didn't talk about being sick. No one really knew. They're just like, okay, you were fine yesterday and today your lips are purple and you look very unhealthy, They'd ask me if I had AIDS, if I was on drugs. And I didn't, at first it would bother me, but then I just ignored them. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I'm like, they're not going to understand, right? In my head, I had to understand that they were not going to understand me. If they chose to understand me, they would come to me and have a conversation. But for those that didn't, I wasn't going to push the information on them, which was probably the hardest thing to deal with, being a teenager, because you want to be included and inclusive. But I was like, if these people aren't going to be my friends anyway, who cares?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, why try to spend time, convincing people that are that ignorant,
Exactly. I was dealing with so much. I was already sick. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, I don't have time to fight another battle about why I'm skinny. I'm like, who cares?
Right.
It's sad though, isn't it?
Another question with your weight loss. I know when a lot of people lose a significant amount of weight, doctors and medical team would like to put them on feeding tubes to try and increase that weight. Were you ever put on one, or did they ever recommend one to you?
Not a feeding tube. I had to get a PICC line, so I've had a PICC line about 2 or 3 times, and they put TPN and fed me fat and all my nutrients through there. They just put me on a liquid diet, and then just fed me through those through the intravenous.
Got you.
Wow.
I've had that before too.
Yeah.
With a PICC line, Jordan?
Yeah, when during, actually, I think, the second surgery, I was fed through an IV for 2 or 3 days, something like that. I lost. Yeah, I'm not a big dude either, and so I never been 150 pounds in my life, and so and even before the surgery when I was bigger, and so now I'm 130 or whatever, and so when I was in the hospital, it's 3 or 4 days of not really eating, just getting almost just nutrients or whatever. I think I was maybe 110 or something. I mean, Skeletor, and so those anybody out there listening to that, that's it's an ordeal. It's an ordeal. So so again, bravo. So so how long? So that surgery, and so has your weight balanced out a little bit since then, or
increased? I want to say I gained more weight during quarantine than anything, but I just had more time to just stay home and focus on eating. So that's been good. Right. But leading up to quarantine, I was doing well, gaining about 2 pounds every 2 weeks, every so a week. Yeah. It's way better than anything I've ever done up until this point. So that felt really good to just have my body healthy and gain weight. I'm hoping it stays like this, but yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah, we do
You
too.
seem so happy. A lot of times we tend to share our stories, and because we can understand each other from our own perspective of what we've been through. But you seem to be very happy in a very comfortable place in your life, regardless of what you've been through. And I really think that the hope for us is to always feel this way, regardless of what we've been through in the past. So I commend you for that as well, definitely, because it's not an easy transition. And I told you guys that, like, being a female, I think we have a lot of differences of Crohn's related issues versus the males do. So, but either way, I think we're all fighting together.
Yes.
You know, this is awesome to be able to see you blossom from that 14-year-old young lady to a beautiful young lady you are now through all you've been through.
Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and so one last thing kind of to my mind, you know, so what do you you know, for anybody listening, are there any things, you know, you're working on now, or you know that people can kind of check you out on? Or
I'm currently working on my memoir. Yeah.
Sweet.
Write that. I'm gonna write my whole story for you guys to enjoy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I finished the first draft of it, so I'm working on like editing and doing the second stage of it. So hopefully I'll get that out soon. Yeah, but I'm very excited to share. Like, yeah, I like sharing. I think I was scared to share more growing up, which I shouldn't have been. But just self-conscious and insecurity and the weight, right? I'm like, I don't look the same every day, right? Or even, yeah. So it was hard, but now I'm starting to get more comfortable and more confident. And you know, I'm like, I don't really care what people have to say anymore. You know? Yeah.
That's how it should be.
That's it.
Definitely.
Yep. Awesome. I love it. So,
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When did you start reaching out, or have you ever reached out to anybody in the IBD community before, or when did that become a thing for you?
So it's so funny. In high school, I was the first one to get sick, right? Because I came into high school sick.
Yeah.
And then I actually had 2 more other people I went to high school with that got it. And because the teachers knew, they reached out to me and asked me to like speak to them. And so that was kind of helpful for me. We talked to each other through it, and we were kind of each other's soundboard through high school because we could relate to one another. Yeah. So I guess from that, yeah. And it's weird because I'm like, okay, I only want to help people in the IBD community because they understand, right? But now I'm like, oh, well, the whole world needs to understand. So, yeah. Yeah.
I got one more thing, Jordan. The fact that this is National Suicide Prevention Week. And I know that a lot of, well, not a lot, but there have been some cases where a lot of younger kids who had IBD have committed suicide due to them not wanting to go through the transition of getting a colostomy or ileostomy. So what are some of the positive words you can possibly share to a person out here that's young, that's newly diagnosed, like in high school?
I want to tell them that I've been there too. I know exactly what that feels like, right? I've contemplated that myself. Sorry, I'm trying not to cry. It's just, I want to say that we're here for you. You know, someone is listening. Someone is here to help you and hold your hand and let you know that everything is going to be okay if you just speak up, you know, just tell someone how you're feeling and don't give up, you know, don't give up on yourself or your story, right? Because this, like, you have so much more to show the world. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Definitely.